Welcome to my garden. I'm going to be submitting to a zine this week. The zine is entirely focused on spring renewal and also big cats. And so I am out here enjoying the spring weather, trying to get some inspiration, thinking a lot about spring, thinking a lot about flowers, thinking a little bit about cats as well. And I just thought it would be kind of nice to bring you along with me. I'm planning on working on a bunch of different drawings about cats and about spring and sort of seeing where I land with the best drawing or the best art piece that I can submit. And we'll pick our favorite at the end. So come on with me. I spent some time thinking about the theme of this scene with the spring renewal element. And what I landed on is that while I do feel a sense of renewal in the spring, what I really feel is a sense of optimism. The sun is out longer, the grass is growing greener, flowers are blooming, and you start to see little birds and little animals coming out. And I just can't help but feel so energized and so hopeful during this time of the year. I also feel like I'm at a time in my life where I am really trying to re-energize myself creatively, and I'm feeling incredibly hopeful and optimistic about that pursuit. So I settled right into working on my ideas, and my plan this week was to make a bunch of different little drawings and kind of workshop some ideas and see what I liked and see what worked, and then at the end of the week come up with something that I was really proud of that kind of combined everything. This was definitely a quantity versus quality approach on the front end, but with the idea being that I was going to edit it down and come up with some stuff that I really loved. And the first drawing that I worked on this week is, I'm calling it my wildcat drawing. Now, I'd already started this as a little doodle in my sketchbook, kind of unbeknownst to me that I was going to submit to this scene. So I spent a little bit of extra time just working on it and adding to it. I just finished it up. I thought it was a pretty fun one. I liked how it turned out, and I definitely liked the more like whimsical sort of decorative elements of the flowers. In addition to spending a lot of time thinking about spring and drawing about spring, I did a lot of going outside. So I got to go to one of my favorite places nearish me and walk around for the day. It was really beautiful, sunny and warm, and I got a bag full of hot pecans with sugar to enjoy, and that was lovely. And I actually went somewhere new that I hadn't been before or even known was there. They have a human sundial that they have installed in one of their gardens, and you just stand on the correct month, and if you hold your hands up, it will show you what time it is based on where the sun is, and I thought that was so cool. Just got to enjoy the water, look at the boats. I wandered through kind of an old cemetery and just got a lot of enjoyment out of that. I'm back after my first day of working on my zine submission, and I thought it would be kind of fun to switch it up today. I usually draw in my little art room, my office, but I thought I would come out here into my plant room because I've got a bunch of great windows and I can see the outside. I've got a last little bit of sun for the afternoon, and I thought it would just kind of help me with a little bit of spring inspiration. While I am working on my next little drawing, I figured I would share sort of what the rules of the zine are. So it has to be a one-page submission. It is required to be black and white, and they heavily recommended a high contrast piece of work. So I'm going to be doing some stuff with just markers, just black ink markers, but I also have my India ink, and I'm thinking that I'm going to add a little bit of India ink into this. And I definitely want to focus on something that's a little bit more whimsical, and I'm thinking a lot about cats and plant fairies, and like cats as little pollinator fairies that go around and help the plants grow. Spring magic, I guess we'll call it. I really loved how my fairy cat turned out, but I wanted to try something a little bit looser. I love working with India ink, and one of the things that I like the most about it is that you really can kind of go more expressive with it and just like lay down layers and layers of ink and build from there. As I was working on this, I just kind of had a little bit of an idea of what I wanted as far as the sketch goes, but I sort of just followed where I felt like the ink wanted to go. And I really love India ink for that purpose. It's great for all sorts of things, but if you just want to make something, I think it's a really great immediate just putting something down on the page. And I really liked how this one turned out. I loved the border. I think that that is something that I wasn't planning on doing, but it really added a lot to the picture. And I ended up kind of off camera doing a couple more designs that were sort of related to this. So I'll show them to you here. This one is like another little flower. I really liked this sort of decoration surrounding it. I thought that turned out really nice. And this one was totally unplanned. This one I did too, just another loose, this one's sort of like a daffodil, but just like a very loose little flower drawing. And this was with India ink too. And I thought these were both really nice. I love the expressiveness of them. I also went to a botanical garden this week, and that was really lovely. It was kind of a small one, and they're definitely in the process of planting and growing their spring flowers, but it was so nice to walk around. They had this cute little statue of a duck, and I loved it so much, and like a cool like bottle sculptural art piece. But it was nice just to walk around again in nature and appreciate it for what it was. And I took Francine down to one of my favorite places to walk her to. Saw a bunch of good nature, saw a very long worm, and just some beautiful spring afternoon scenes on the coast. I do what I can to try and get out when it's this nice. And to come back to the spring renewal theme or the spring growth theme, something that I've been thinking a lot about in relation to myself and my art is I do feel a real sense of renewal in myself. It started probably at the end of last year when I really became focused on getting back into making art, but I do feel like very connected to the idea of like spring renewal. You know, things grow and they renew in the spring after a long winter when it's been cold and there hasn't been growth and maybe the animals have been hibernating. And I feel like I relate to that as an artist where I didn't make art for a really long time, and I do feel almost like a flower or something that's like starting to like grow back out of the ground and like start putting out leaves. And there is a part of me that has been dormant for a really long time that I'm like just starting to get back in touch with. And so I think the idea of spring renewal, spring growth, you can only have that after a challenge or after you have to pause due to external circumstances or internal circumstances in my case. And after my little walk, I was totally ready to sit down and start working on the real zine submission. I took a bunch of the ideas that I'd worked with, so I really loved the illustrative style of some of the earlier stuff that I worked on during the week, but I wanted some looseness to it. I wanted something that didn't look just like a doodle on the page, and so I decided that I was going to go for a little bit more of like an illuminated text or like a marginalia style drawing that has like a margin and a border. And I went for this cool little cat that is like part flower, part cat, and he's got his tail curled up on the border and kind of is like coming out of the border. I really liked how that came out. I thought it was a very cool idea and a cool image, and I think that it really translated kind of exactly how I would like. I brought it out here with me to show you too. It's turned out so good. I think this is a very cool little drawing, and I'm very excited to tell you that I did submit it to the zine. And of course, I will let you all know if my submission gets accepted, but I hope that it will. That's all I've got for you for today. I really hope that you enjoyed sort of like my spring little art vlog. And if you're working on something, hope you're enjoying it, and I'll see you next time. Bye.